Okay.
But what happens is, because we're on a salt-free diet, see, our society says don't eat
Oh,
salt,
I know.
and we don't get as much potassium because
Right.
we don't eat as much vegetables as we should, because we're eating our Burger Kings and our
French
and
fries.
our 8 Coke sodas a day.
Yeah.
But then what comes next is calcium and magnesium, and so what the body does is starts pulling it out of the bones so that it can neutralize this excess acid. So when you really evaluate, you'll see a person's sodium will be low, you'll see the person's
Potassium is low.
potassium will be low, you'll see the person's calcium will be low, their magnesium will be low, their chromium will be low, their triglycerides will be high, their cholesterol tends to be high. And so
That's a lot of stress on the system.
oh, it is.
To have that.
And there's a wonderful tool called NutriBalance that many physicians have in their offices now that will very quickly take a numerical scan and can tell you what percent of acidity you are, what percent of alkalinity you are, or if you're balanced.
And does that help the doctor then guide the patient in eating?
Oh, it does, because
Okay.
it will help them to develop a specific diet for that patient.
Really?
And doctors love it because it's just such a quick scan. They can learn so much at just a glance. You know,
By
the average
compiling.
doctor, I mean, maybe he's with a patient for 6-10 minutes. I mean, it's because he's so overworked. He
Right.
just can't spend the time that he would like to researching the patient's
Right.
file and assessing the blood tests and comparing them and putting them in clusters. And so
Well, I'm
this just
gonna
helps them quickly.
Blow your horn a little bit
Da.
here again. Okay. I mean, isn't this pretty much what you've done all along in your private practice?
I
You've
have.
taken all of these tests and you've compiled this info by hand.
Yes, I have. I've
and
done
what
that
you've
for
done
like
is
10
you've
years.
assisted in the creation of this program. Am I not correct?
Well, actually, I can't take all the credit for that because
Right.
I was doing it by hand for 10 to
Years.
12 years, and it just would take so long to do it. And a medical doctor by the name of Joseph Montanti in Colorado had developed a program 15 years ago. And what he would do is doctors from all over the country would fax him results, and then what he would do then is he would send them back these 10 to 12 page to 20 page reports. I said, Doc, why don't you, let's get this in doctors' offices. I mean, why?
Sure.
It's such a hassle. They have to fax it here. They
Sure.
get lost. The patient comes in. The report isn't there.
Not good.
Everybody's embarrassed. It takes.
Sure.
I said, give it to the doctors. Put it in their hands. And so
Let them be the teacher.
let them be the teacher. Let them be the coach. You know, take yourself out of the loop. And so after much harassment of about 5 years, he finally succumbed. And so now it is available in doctors' offices.
Well, I've seen the program. It's marvelous. It's a wonderful tool.
It is. Patients
It's a
love it.
wonderful
They just
tool.
love it because they can learn. I mean, here is a snapshot in time of themselves.
Yes.
And it gives you the disease ranges, which is the normal laboratory
Mm-hmm.
ranges. Most people don't realize that, but that's what lab ranges are. The average lab test is 95. They'll take a mean, then they'll take 2 standard deviations low and 2 standard deviations high.
High.
And that's like 95% of the people fall in there.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, it is.
And that's why
You gotta
so
be
many people go to the doctor, and the doctor says, it's all in your head, you need Prozac.
That's
you
right.
know, there's nothing wrong with you, you're perfectly in the norms.
That's
well,
right.
those norms, those ranges also become wider as the population becomes sicker.
That's right.
So, you know, as you end up progressing to the high or low end of the norm, or what we call, or the standard lab calls the normal ranges,
Right.
you're in trouble. You're feeling the symptoms, but everyone is telling you, the patient, that you're fine.
That's right, but you're saying, I'm tired,
not
I have no
feeling good.
energy,
Yeah,
I don't digest
I'm
my
achy,
food, I
my
don't
bones hurt.
sleep, I get jumpy, I yell at my wife.
Yeah. The kids don't like me anymore.
That's right.
So,
but this
yeah.
compares you to an optimal person, to an
That's
optimal or bionic man or woman. And the beauty of it then is that we'll do is cluster tests. For example, cholesterol could be a liver problem, it could be a thyroid problem, it could be a
Sure.
pituitary problem, it could be an immune problem. And so what it does is clusters these tests into categories and helps you, the physician, very quickly see, that's an immune system problem, or oh, there's a liver problem, or oh, there's this or that. And one test might not give you a lot of indication, but if you see 5, 6, 7, 10 tests that are outside the optimal range, not outside the disease range, but outside the optimal range, now you know something's happening, and we can predict disease before it happens and then prevent it.
Great.
Why wait till you have diabetes? Let's do
That's
something
great.
about it while it's working. Sometimes it takes years to get it.
Exactly. Well, it takes, you know, once it shows up in a blood test, you're there. And
You're
you've
there.
been there for a long time.
That's right.
I tell people, don't wait for your ranges to look abnormal.
That's right.
Once you're abnormal, you're in hot water.
That's right.
Up to your nose, up to the marker.
Yeah.
So yeah,
let's deal with it when it's up to your waist. We still got some moving room.
Are bad.
Yeah.
You can struggle out of it. So tell me why some people are so plagued with every little bug and virus that comes along.
Well, that kind of goes along with what we were saying earlier about when you have that, your system it doesn't get enough oxygen to the cells, and so you become hypoxic. And so what happens is it's a breeding ground for the bacteria and the viruses and as we said, the cancer. And so your system is too acidic. Also, the other thing that happens is when your system gets too acidic, your body doesn't make enough hydrochloric acid. And hydrochloric acid is necessary to see, when we eat a piece of lettuce or a tomato or a cabbage or just about any food, if we could have a microscope and look in on that thing, I mean, it's loaded with bacteria.
Right.
And so the hydrochloric acid in our stomach kills that bacteria.
Before it travels further.
Exactly. But if we already are too acidic, our body's not going to make as much hydrochloric acid, and as a result, it'll pass through that little one-way valve, that pyloric valve. Now, digestibility, for a while, your pancreatic enzymes can overcome that and really work hard to digest it, but it doesn't kill that bacteria that's there. And so you're just susceptible to everything.
Joe, we're going to just sidebar a little bit because this is a very good point. So many Americans are hypochlorhydric, meaning they don't have enough hydrochloric acid, and they're walking around and they're taking Tums and things like that. Tell our viewing audience why this is not a good idea.
Well, when you take Tums, what happens is basically you're just quenching the problem. I mean, you're treating the symptom. But there's an underlying cause. When you digest proteins, for example, you have to take proteins, which might look like a long string of beads. And on each one of those beads are amino acids. And those amino acids are invaluable for your whole system. Amino acids will take minerals, and they'll put them on their back, and they'll carry them through the small intestine and to the cells, and carry them right. L-carnitine, for example, will carry calcium or magnesium right to the heart. And so if we don't have enough amino acids, then our brain doesn't work. And you can't break them down. If you can't break down the proteins, you can't have the amino acids. And so, so what you're doing is treating the symptoms instead of getting to the cause. You've got a little one-way valve in your stomach called a pyloric valve. And when your system reaches a certain pH, boom, the pyloric valve opens, and then the body turns on some neutralizing things, some bicarbonate, and it takes the pH from acidic to alkaline. Now, when your stomach can handle a pH of like 1.5 to 4, I mean, it can handle very acid conditions. But in your small intestine, it's very alkaline. And so when you get that alkaline 8 to 8.5 to 9, and it goes into those tissues that it can handle 1.5 to 4, it burns those tissues.
Sure, it's too acidic.
Right. And so it's very, very rare that people have too much acid. Very rare.
Is it?
And so,
so the hydrochloric acid problem should not necessarily be alleviated by taking something like Tums. It's it's a Band-Aid on the boo-boo. Plus Tums contains aluminum, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly, exactly.
So
we have enough aluminum in our diet. I have enough Alzheimer's, thank you. Because they have shown that aluminum and heavy metals contribute to Alzheimer's.
Exactly.
Is it the sole cause? We don't know, but there's a correlation between high aluminum levels and Alzheimer's.
It's interesting to denote too that when we talk about digestive enzymes, that I have so many patients who don't have enzymes. I mean, they just don't have sufficient enzymes, and they're all on digestive enzymes with pancreatic support. And when you put them on these products, boy, they do well.
They do extremely
well. It's amazing. How about Helicobacter pylori?
Helicobacter pylori, it's a bacteria that's in your stomach.
And it's not broken down because there's not enough hydrochloric acid.
That's one reason. There's another reason is because your body will make chemicals if you don't drink enough water. And if you don't drink enough water, one of the things that it makes is histamine. And guess what flares up in the presence of histamine?
Helicobacter pylori.
That's right.
Isn't this great information, you guys? This is so cool.
Plus your stomach, I mean, we have to have this layer of mucus between us. I mean, here you've got this acid. If you took hydrochloric acid that you use in your stomach and pour it in your hand, it would eat right through your hands. That's how strong the stuff is. So we have to have a barrier between us and that acid. And so it's a mucus lining. And if you drink enough water, your body will make a nice thick layer of mucus. But if you don't drink enough water, those layers get thinner and thinner and thinner.
And then we get tummy aches, and then we get ulcers.
And we wonder why.
Yeah.
Hello.
And then we're really stressed out.
That's right.
And then the bacteria are growing, and on and on and on. So it's very important. What do you suggest to our viewing audience that they do to compensate for too much alkalinity in their diet? What daily steps can they take to adjust their diet?
Well, first thing they want to do is eat more vegetables. Eat more vegetables because...
How many a day? How many cups?
I like to have people eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And
What's
if I
a
could
serving?
get them to eat more, I would.
What's a serving?
To me, a serving is a cup.
Okay.
It's a
so
cup.
like a piece of fruit or a cup of vegetables
Right,
is
would be
one
a
serving.
So
and
I'd
at
like
least 5 a day.
at least 5
Yeah,
a day. If
that's
you
what
could
I
do
do.
more, I would like to have them do
Did
more.
I learn that from you?
I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, we go
I might
for-
have learned it from you.
We go for 4 cups of vegetables a day in
And one
my
fruit?
clinic, and 2 to 3
2
fruits.
to 3 fruits. That's
I go
good.
for that 9 servings a day, according to the American Cancer Society.
That's good. I try to.
Alleviates
So
cancer.
more fruits and vegetables, and here's just one more reason to do that. Now, 75% of the people that are watching us are too acidic.
Right.
3 out of 4 people. So if there's 4 of you sitting on a couch, 1, 2, 3, you 3 are too acidic.
Right.
The 4th one, you're probably balanced.
Really?
But so more fruits and vegetables, less acid-forming foods, particularly pop and your
Coffee, starches,
starches, right?
Twinkies, Ho-Hos, Fritos, buns, French fries.
That's right. All those
Okay.
goodies.
Fast foods.
Exercise is another thing we want to do because we want to blow off the carbon dioxide. I mean, that's one of the things that happens when we exercise.
You know what's amazing,
We
Joe?
breathe more.
Speaking for on my own benefit, when I exercise with diligence, my 4 days a week, all of my aches go away.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing because I have a lot of muscle problems in my neck. They all go away immediately,
Yeah.
within a week. It's amazing.
That's right.
So that talks about that blowing off of steam.
That's right. Blow off that carbon
dioxide.
And the other
Okay.
thing is drink more water. I mean, those are simple things that I'm sure you've told your guests for years, but again, here's one more reason to do that.
Okay, so we're going to drink more water. How much water do you think individuals need per day?
Well, I think people need to start by drinking a lot because they're so dehydrated. And what I tell people is to take your weight and divide it in half.
Okay.
And that's how many ounces you need for the first 2 or 3 months.
So if I weigh 140,
You would drink 70
ounces a day. Now, will people urinate like crazy initially?
They will urinate like crazy
Takes
for the
3 weeks or so.
first 2 or 3 weeks. That's exactly right. And then their
Stick
body
with it.
just calms right down. But you'll find a lot of people that are on low-calorie diets and they can't lose weight and they can't figure out what's going on. They'll start urinating more. All of a sudden, the cellulite starts going down. They're less
Right.
puffy.
Right.
Their bowels start working better. I mean, if you think it, we usually carry like 5 pounds of feces in our colon. For some food that's like
Not
stuck
me.
on the side.
Just kidding.
But the average person, because they're constipated, does. And
It's
so you
number
want to
3
lose weight, the
killer.
first thing you should do is drink more good water and not
Yeah.
tap water either, bottled water or something with the
Filter it.
chlorate filtered water,
Yeah,
right?
that's good advice. Real quickly, because we're running out of time.
Okay.
How do people find these doctors who are using the NutriBalance program?
Well, that's a good question.
I'm going to
They
make it quick here.
they could call 1-800-373-1373 and we can give them the
Okay.
list of the doctors.
Okay, good. Thank you, Joseph, for joining us tonight.
Well,
It was great
thanks.
having you
It's
again.
good to be here.
It was great. And thank you, folks, for viewing us this evening. Please join us next week. We'll be talking about your colon, speaking of constipation. So be there, be square. I'm Deborah Arneson. Until then, good health to you.